Hello everyone, it's Kathy and you're back here on my YouTube channel, Kathy's Random Acts of Stampin'. If any of you that tuned in yesterday or you've watched the replay of my live, y'all know that I had a struggle with this automatic door card. I wanted to come back because I went after the video. I told some of my friends, I said I had to go pull myself out of the corner where I was licking my wounds because it's very difficult when you run into a mind block and you're not on camera. But if you can put yourself in my shoes to be live on air with people watching and you just can't pull it together, it was so frustrating. But I learned a lot from my mistakes, and now I'm here to right the wrong and show y'all exactly how easy this card is to put together, because it really isn't hard. I was making it hard on myself, and I want to go back and I want to show you exactly how we're going to cut our pieces and what we're going to do. And I thought I'd make this a Christmas card, and I'm using the Sweetest Christmas DSP Designer Series paper, and I'm going to use both sides of this. We've got a beautiful green on one side and then the white with the candy canes on the other side, and I'm going to use for my card base and all of my pieces is going to be white and real red. So I think that's going to be really pretty for a Christmas card. It's going to be very traditional. So I'm going to lay this out of my way for a minute, and we're going to concentrate on cutting our piece of cardstock. So I'm going to bring out my trusty little trimmer, and we need to cut this down to 5.5. So I'm going to take it to the 5.5 mark and give it a good slice. And then I want to turn it, because then we're going to cut it at 5 3/4. So 5 3/4 and slice. Now we're going to do some scoring. So I'm going to bring both blades down. I'm going to bring this over to 4 1/4. And then we're going to give that a good score. And this is our card base, and this piece is done. We're going to come back and burnish everything as soon as we get all of our pieces cut. The next thing we're going to need is we're going to need 2 red pieces that measure 1.5 by 5. So 1.5 and 1.5 is 3. So I'm going to cut off a 3-inch piece. And then I'm going to I'll turn it and cut it to 5. I think 5 is right. Let me double check those measurements. Yeah, 5 is right. So 5 inches in length. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this at the 1.5 inch mark. So 1.5 is right here. And we're just going to slice this right in 2. This should give us 2 equal parts of 1.5 by 5. So this is our piece that we need to do some scoring on. This is going to be our mechanism. This is the piece that gave me so much trouble. It wasn't the making of this piece, but actually putting it into the card base. So I'm going to show you how to do it, and it's really super simple once you know the correct way to fold everything and exactly what you're doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in, and I'm going to come down with my score blade about halfway, and I'm going to score it right down the middle at 3/4 of an inch. That's halfway between 1.5. I'm going to give that a fold. I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to bring it in to 1.5 on the long side, and we're going to do some tick marks. So I'm going to tick mark it at 1.5 at the bottom and at the top using my trimmer track to give me my dots. Now we're going to do some fancy footwork. We're going to line up those dots into our track and pivot the other edge or our point into the track. And then all we're going to do is score that. Then we're going to turn it the opposite direction, put that point in and the tick mark down here, and we are going, oops, I think that slipped. If you think it slipped, go back and double check, because you're better to do that than you would to let it slip and mess up on you. So now that I have that piece done, I'm going to go ahead and crease, and I really want to work the fibers and break the fibers down in this piece of paper. So I am folding it one way, then the other way, and this way. I mean, any which way you can figure out to fold this. You want to just keep creasing back to front, front to back, side to side, until you get those fibers broken down really, really well. Now we're going to take our paper snips, and this was all the easy part, which I was thinking this was going to be the hard part. We're going to snip up to where these lines all intersect right there. So I'm going to cut my score line away, and I'm just going up to that line where everything intersects, and then I'm going to turn my scissors and I'm going to cut straight up. And this is what you end with, a piece like this. So now we're going to do the same thing to the other piece. So we're going to put it in at 3/4. Score that really good. Turn it to 1 1/2. Pencil and do a tick mark at the 1 1/2 at the top, 1 1/2 at the bottom. Then we're going to pivot these in to our track right here until we line up that tick mark to the corner. So just like that, and then score, turn it, and score. And then we're going to do the same thing here. We're just going to break down those fibers. Get it loosey-goosey. Bend it one way, then the other. Bend it this way and then the other. And then we're going to take our snips and do the same thing. Same side. We're going to go snip up to the center and then straight up that middle line, just like that. So that's giving you two pieces that are identical. Well, we don't need them identical. We need to flip one. So what you want is on your right and your left, you want your slant to be to the outside. Simple, easy peasy. So I'm going to throw those away. And then I'm going to bring over my card base because I want to show you just how easy it is to get these in. Now the one thing you're going to have to remember is you're going to put your glue on the back side of this. So this is going to need to live right here, just like that. And you want to make sure you're all the way down to the bottom corner, just like that, and all the way over to the side, just like that. So you don't want your glue to go past that mark. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that pencil mark. I don't think the pencil marks will show, but just in case, we'll just ease them out of there. So remember, we're going to put glue on the underside of this, not here, but under here. So I'm just going to use my little squirt bottle, and I am going to just put glue all over the back side of that. Remember, this is your front, so this is the back of that piece. And I've tried to, in the diagram that I'm going to put up on the blog, I'm trying my best to show that as in detailed as I can. So I am going to put that down right about like so, making sure it's flush here and flush here. Then you're going to fold it over and burnish it. Get that bone folder and work the fibers of that paper. Just work that down really, really good. And then what you're going to do, you're going to open it and you're just going to fold that piece back like that. Again, burnish that point. And you see this little triangle piece that you have right here. That little piece right there. And it's like a little flap. It flaps up and back. You want it to lay flat. And all you're going to do is put glue just in that little area. Then, very simply, you're going to close your card down on it. Hold it a few minutes because it does take the glue a second longer than it does the dry adhesive to set. And once you do that, you have your mechanism on this side. So I'm going to burnish that. Now if you have anything hanging off of this card at this point, this is when you're going to want to go ahead and trim. And it's okay if you do. You just went over the edge a little bit more than you should have. No big deal. You can always trim off anytime you have any excess like that. Alright, there is your mechanism on one side of your card. But we get to do this again. So here we are. We're just like this. We realize that our glue needs to go on the back side of this piece. So we're going to turn it over, run our glue from this top edge over and down. Just like that. You're going to turn your piece back around. You're going to line it up, top and bottom, side to side, and that point to that score line. Just like that. Now you're going to do the same thing. You're going to take this little flap right here and you're just going to press it down to where that triangle is up at this top corner. Again, you're going to put glue just on that top triangle. And then you're just going to smush down that flap on your card base over it and let it catch. And you're going to want to really press that out, iron it out, do whatever you need to make sure that it is sticking really, really well. And there is our mechanism. So I'm going to open this up and I'm going to give it a good burnish. Oh, that didn't hold. Alright, let's press that down a little bit longer. Alright, so we've got our mechanism ready. I'm going to let that sit for just a minute. I'm going to lay my bone folder on top of it and just let it sit there for a little bit longer. And the next thing we need to do is cut our doors. So we're going to need another piece of red, and I'm still using off of that piece of red that we had. And I'm going to check to see the doors are 2 by 3.5. So we can get 2 inches off of this and probably get both of our doors out of this piece. Let's see if we got 7 inches there. No, not quite. Alright, well we can get one door out of this and we'll cut the other door out of the next piece. So we're going to cut this at 2 inches. Two inches by 3.5. And we need 2 of these, so we're going to cut one more out of here. So we're going to go to 2 inches by 3.5. And now we can go ahead and put our doors on. Now your doors, you're going to open your card up like this so that you have both of these pieces facing to the outward edge, like that. Your doors are going to go flush to here and flush to the bottom. So what I suggest doing is fitting it in there, get it fitted exactly like you want it, and then we're going to come in and we're going to put glue on this piece and we're going to bring that over and burnish it. So again, I'm going to grab my liquid glue bottle. when you've got enough of glue on there, make sure you got it flush to the bottom and flush to that score line, and then we're just going to press this down and adhere that piece to the card base. Alright, then we're going to do the same thing for this other side. We're going to take our cardstock, bring it in, get it nice and flush to the top. If you're noticing that your doors are a little bit wonky, take this piece in to your trimmer and just trim it down ever so slightly. Just barely take a degree off of it. This will help your doors fit better. And look, that's hardly even a shavings of cardstock. This will make a big difference when you're putting your card together. So we are going to put that piece right up underneath there, bringing it flush to the bottom. Alright, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put glue over, and then we're just going to put glue all over that tab from that point down. And then we're going to fold it over onto our piece. I hope everything is nice and straight. Press, press, press. Alright, so now we need to cut some pieces. That wasn't hard at all. It's not hard if you don't make it hard. Yesterday I think I was making it hard, and it just hadn't been a really good week for me all the way around. So I'm hoping it's going to be ending on a positive note. Although I don't think going and having my veins in my legs operated on is my idea of having a good time, but nevertheless it is what it is, and I do have to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off a piece of this, and I think I want the stripes to go this way. So I know that this piece needs to be cut at 1 and this piece is 1 1/4. I'm trying to decide if I want to do it on the diagonal, and I think I do. So let's try it and see what it looks like. I'm going to cut a section off of this that's 1 1/4. And we only need it to be 5 1/4. And this piece is going to live right up here on this flap. I think that's going to be really pretty there, and we're going to do the candy canes on our doors, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Very simple, but let's get this glued down first. I'm going to bring in my new product that I have been promising to show you. This is the Silly glue well, and these things are taking the craft world by storm. And what you do is it comes with these little silicone brushes, and you dab it into your ink, and then you can literally spread your ink to the thickness or the thinness that you want it. So this is a game changer when it comes to our glues. And the good thing about this is you fill it up with whatever your favorite glue is. So if you're one of those people that buy the big bottles to save money in the long run, you can pour that right into this, no questions asked, and it's the glue of your choice. So what is not to love about that? Alright, so now that I've got glue all over that piece, I'm ready to adhere it down. So I'm going to bring my flap down, because I want to make sure I'm getting nice even borders. Just like that. And I'm going to burnish it. Alrighty. So the next thing we're going to do, oh, and the cleanup on these are as simple as a baby wipe. You can just take a baby wipe and wipe off your little nib. Just like that, and you're good to go. I love the convenience of that, and I like the way I can get glue all over my project very easily. So now we need to cut our decorative panels for the doors. So we're going to need to cut 2 at 2 3/4. So I'm thinking 2 3/4. And I think this time I'm going to do it out of the peppermint. So alright, let's go ahead and cut 2 of these. At 2 inches. Alright, 2 inches, and we need it to be about 3 1/2. So 3 1/2 would be right there, and of course we need 2 of them. So these are going to go right on the front of our card, just like that. And I think that's going to look really pretty with that green stripe across there. And I need to decide if I want to do green up the sides. I'm just not sure at this point. But what we're going to do, we're going to get some glue on here. I think I'm going to go back to my little bottle. It seems like this is a little faster than doing it that way. So I'm going to take my candy cane and I want to slide that right up to the top, even with the edge, all the way around. Give that a good press. Then we're going to do the same thing over on this side. Alright, you can see that I have a little overhang on this one as well. So I am just going to open this up. I'm going to take a pair of my shears that's long enough where I can get in here and just trim this off. Being careful not to cut into my red cardstock. And I'm going to do the same thing down here. My paper snips go. So now we have the front of our card done. We're ready to put our little strips in here. And this is where I need to decide whether I want the little stripe. And I think I do, but the question is, do I want it going like this or crossways like this? I think I'm going to let it go in this direction. But let me decide how I want to do that, and we'll meet right back up and we will finish this card. It's really easy to do, so simple and yet so stunning. We'll be right back. Okay, real quick, I want to break in real quick and show you this little technique that I did that I think adds a lot to the card. When I made the one the other day, because I had torn up the flap several times to try to get it right, I had a torn place in my paper, and the card's since then been mailed out, but I wanted to show you what I did to cover it up. The card was already made, and I wanted to put a piece in to cover this. So what I did is I cut a strip that was 5.5 by 1 1/4, no, 5 1/4 by 1 1/4, and I just take the strip and I center it up like I want it, like get it down, you know, the border that you want all the way around, something like this, and then close the card up on it, give it a press, and when you take this out, you're going to have a perfect creased piece, and all you have to do is take your paper snips and snip these little corners off just like this. And then this piece will fit down in here absolutely perfect and give you that decorative edge that you might want inside. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this in. I'm also going to use my bone folder, just kind of iron that out a little bit because I think it got a little bit crooked there. And I'm trying to decide if I want the candy canes or the stripes. I think I'm going to go with the I'm so indecisive, y'all. I'm going to go with the stripes. I think I like that. So I'm going to iron out. You know how I told you I like to iron my paper because I don't like it to have those little curled edges on it. So, and I'm just going to use some liquid glue on the back of this to be able to stick it in with. So, little glue. Remember, a little glue goes a long ways, so you don't have to do a whole bunch. Then I'm going to open it up like so, and just get that piece set in there just like you want it. Once you get it in there, then just press it, bring it together, and press it again, and then you have your decorative piece in there. And this is really going to make a difference when you put your inside piece in, and we're going to do our little stripes down the side as well. So I'm going to use that same striped paper, and we're going to cut a 1/2 inch by, I think it's 5 inches. I gotta find my instructions. A 1/2 inch by 4. So, and that's going to go right down this little place right here, and I believe we got 4 inches here. Not quite. All right, we'll cut a piece off of this, and I need to decide if I want them to go like this or like this, and I think I like it like that. So I'm going to cut a 1/4 inch strip off of this piece right here. Not a 1/4 inch, I'm sorry. I keep saying a 1/4, but it's a 1/2 an inch. And like I said, all of the instructions will be in the blog post. And I know I haven't gotten the blog post up from yesterday. And the reason for that, I've been working my measurements and my diagrams so that when I bring this to you, you will have all of the information you need to be able to make this card successfully. It's really not a hard card. It's just a lot of little details in it. So I'm going to cut 2 pieces off of this at 4 inches. So line that up right at 4. Slice. Line it up again at 4. And slice. Now we've got our little decorative pieces that's going to go right down the side. This is going to look like a candy cane. I love it. I love it already. So I'm going to put glue on the back, and then we're going to glue those pieces down, and then we'll start working on our flaps and our inside piece and all of the little fun well, actually the entire card is fun. I got a funny feeling I'm not going to be able to stop making these, because once you learn a technique and you love it, you just want to make them over and over and over. And this is going to make such a cute card for any occasion. Just think of all the different things you can do with this card. I really am enjoying it. I did feel a little bit like a wounded puppy yesterday when I, came on probably totally unprepared. I had a lot on my mind this week, dealing with my washer, dealing with just the everyday stress, my upcoming procedure on my legs. Just a lot going on. Now look how cute that is. That just looks like Christmas, doesn't it? I love that. And then when you open it, voila! I love it, I love it. So we're going to do our flap for the front, and then we're going to do our card for the inside, and we also got our little white pieces that we're going to put in. They're going to measure, we need 2 of those at 1 7/8 by 3 3/8. So I'm going to cut those next. Let me grab my white paper. And we are going to go ahead and cut these 2 pieces, because these are 2 that we're going to need to stamp on. And I'm just trying to decide what I want to stamp. I love the candy canes, but there's nothing small enough on this one that would fit on that little piece that's going to measure 1 7/8 by 3 3/8. So because of that, I'm gonna look at my stamps and see what else I've got that looks festive, and let me check that, and then I'll get right back. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the pieces for this, and when we meet back up together, I will have everything ready to do the stamping and put our middle piece in and everything. I'll be right back. Okay everyone, I have been gone for a little bit because I started looking for what I wanted to decorate inside of my doors, and I came across, I was trying to think, what do I want to do, and I thought, what about a snowman inside our candy cane Christmas card? So I pulled out, this is a brand new stamp set. This is called Snowman Magic, and I love this one because you can build your snowman, and I had not played with this, so I had to spend a little bit of time with it. So I'm back and I want to show you what I have done. Now this, I had to kind of play with it to see all the elements and what I wanted it to do. But this is our little gentleman snowman. We're going to make 2 different snowmen. One's going to be our lady snowman, and one's going to be our gentleman snowman. So that was just a trial run on something I was doing to see how it was going to work out. The dies are absolutely wonderful. They work so well with the set. You also get this little framelit that is so cute. I'm not using the framelit today. We're going to concentrate on all of the little bits and pieces that you get. The lady's hat, the man's hat, the arms, there's a little holly berry and leaves that die cuts. There's a rabbit, there's bird, there's bow ties, there's snow caps, there's top hats, there's just all kinds of wonderful things. You've got noses. This is going to be a really fun set, so if you like to build, you're going to love this. Look at the little ski hat and the sunglasses and the scarf, and then you got the top hat, you have the pearls, you've got the buttons for the and here's our 2 faces, and I think the one with our eyes down would be our lady, and this would be our gent, and that little bunny rabbit is so stinking cute. You have the little bird, and the bird, if you notice anything that's solid, it's going to stamp that in a solid image. If it's open, it's going to stamp it so you can color it what you want. Now, when I was looking at my snowman, I thought, okay, I definitely want him to be white, but wouldn't he be lovely if he was outlined in blue rather than black? That would give him a little more character. He'd look more like snow, and that's exactly what I did in this one. Now, we can try it in the black, but I really like that soft blue. It makes him look like he's a snowman. And yes, I did cut him out. We have a die for just about everything in this stamp set. I mean, it is absolutely the cutest little set ever. So if you love snowmen like I do, you may want to check in on this particular set, and I really think it's going to decorate the inside of this card just beautifully. So let's go ahead and I'm going to show you what we're going to do first. We're going to grab some balmy blue, and I'm going to stamp out a couple of my snowmen because I'm starting over. I want you to see the process. So I'm going to stamp one snowman right here. And then I'm going to have another one right here. And remember, we're going to do one as a snow lady and one as a snow gentleman. So there we go. There's our two snowmen. Now, everything that we do from here is going to be adding a little more character. So while I have the balmy blue out, I'm going to grab the two faces because I want to stamp both of my faces in that balmy blue. There's our little lady face because I think with her eyes looking down, she looks a little more feminine. And then we have the ones with the eyes wide open, and that is our little gentleman snowman, or we're going to call him a gentleman. So let's put those down right like that. I'm going to grab a small stamp block to stamp these off on. I want to get this right where I want it. And then I am going to pick that one up, and I'm going to just tap that into that balmy blue ink and stamp his face right there. Stinking cute. Now we can go back with a marker and fill in his nose and give him the little carrot nose. I'm going to grab the lady, the little lady face, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to, and be careful with these pieces because they could be very easy to lose because they are very tiny. Oh, so cute. Isn't she adorable? And they're both kind of facing each other, and I like that too. So I'm going to go ahead and close up this ink, my balmy blue. And I want to clean off these two stamps and put them back in. I would suggest with using this particular set that as soon as you finish up with one of the stamps, I would clean it and put it back where it belongs because you have got, I think there's 29 stamps on here. It would be so easy to lose one of these, and I can tell you firsthand that if you lose one of your stamps, you're not going to be happy. You're going to be very sad, because the reason I know this is that it's happened to me. Toby, it has happened to me, not with Stampin' Up, but I have lost stamp sets before, and it is not a good feeling. You will end up going back and buy. Toby, I'm sorry, my husband has been cutting grass, and he's moving cars right now, and Toby's having a fit. So, all right, while we got our snowman here, I want to go ahead and put the buttons on his little chest. So we have 3 little buttons. I did it a little bit low on this one, and I'll tell you why. I put the scarf on before I put the buttons on, basically because I didn't see the buttons until later. But now that I know we have the little coals for the buttons, we're going to go ahead and ink those up. And I want those to go right about there. And we're going to have our little lady with some buttons too. And I'm going to have hers going right about there. Aren't those stinking cute? I love them. I think they're just precious. All right, I'm going to put the cover back on my Memento ink. And I'm going to sit this over. Actually, I'm going to turn it around. We're going to do some stamping up here with some other pieces. So the first thing I want to do, I'll put my dots back in my, I need to practice what I preach, right? Right. I'm going to put my dots back in here. And I'm going to grab my lady hat. And I'm going to grab the little top hat. I also want the little holly leaf and what have you. Holly and holly leaves, that's what that is. And I think I do want this stamp, but we're going to be stamping this on something a little bit different in just a minute. I love that. Alright, I think that's all I need out of here for the present. No, I need the scarf. I need the little scarf. I knew there was something else. So there's our little scarf, and you can tell I have used these because you can see what I did this one, but this is the little hat, the lady's hat, but I didn't particularly like the way that stamped, so hopefully it'll come out a little brighter this go round. So I'm going to do my holly leaves first. So I'm grabbing my shaded spruce, my favorite ink for doing any type of holly leaves. And what's so neat about this is, even though the holly berries are on there, it leaves circles for those so we can color them in. So I'm going to stamp that right there. Isn't that beautiful? The scarf, I think I want to do the scarf in blue. Let's do her hat because I'm thinking her hat in red. So let's grab the hat. I'm hoping I'll get a better impression this time. So I'm going to do the hat right about here. I'm going to let that ink transfer a little bit longer this time. I kind of stamped it down and back up. And anytime you're dealing with a solid image, you want to make sure you give that ink time enough to transfer. That's still not quite as dark as I would like it, but it's okay. I can work around that. And you might say, well, how are you going to work around it? I have Stampin' Blends, and I know how to use them. So we will take some Stampin' Blend and fill that in where we want it a little darker. So, another great thing about Stampin' Up, you always have options. So if something doesn't come out exactly the way you want it, we can color it up. It's no big deal. So I need a blue, and I think I'm going to grab my Pacific Point. I think I'll do that blue. I don't know, I used the Starry Sky on that one and I really like it. Don't y'all like that blue? Let's get him down there in the sunlight a little bit. No, it's not quite giving it to y'all. I think I might go with the Starry Sky. I really like that color blue. It's dark, but it's not navy, and it's darker than Pacific Point, so that'd be a good color. So I'm going to go ahead and load this up. I'm going to put my stamps back in here as I use them. So the hat and my little holly leaves can go back into my case. And now let's grab the scarf. I'm going to stamp this right about here. And if you see what I'm doing, I'm trying my best to keep a straight line there of all of the pieces. Then I can just run these all through at the same time and cut them with one pass. And that's what I'm hoping for. So I'm going to put that one back in there. And I think the only thing we have now is the top hat. So let's get the little stamp block for my top hat. And we want our top hat to be black. So again, I think for this one I'm going to use a VersaFine ink. I'm not going to be coloring this, so I think I'm going to use the VersaFine. That usually gives you a little bit richer. I wish that Stampin' Up! Would carry the VersaFine. They carry the Versamark, This black ink is not alcohol marker friendly, so you do have to be careful if you're using this because you cannot color with it. But it is great for sentiments and anything solid black. You see how much blacker that black looks than this one? One is Memento and the other one is the VersaFine. So every now and then I will pull out my VersaFine ink and I'll use it because I do get a very vibrant black with that. Okay, so now I'm going to bring my dies over. So I'm going to start off with my little holly leaves and put those in right about like that. I'm going to use my little sticky notes because I want to adhere these down really well. Here's my little hat. I said sticky notes, and these are actually post-it flags. Same principle, just a different name. So here's my little stocking die, or scarf die. I'm sorry, that is not a stocking, that is a scarf. And I got another one of these right here. And then I need my top hat. Last but not least. So do I have another one of my tags? I think I have some in my drawer. I hope I do. I do. And this one isn't wanting to adhere very well, so I'm going to bring it all the way over it. Now we can just pass this through our die machine. And I'm going to also grab my snowman because we can also cut one of our snow people. And I'm going to need another one of my little notes. I've got to find my bigger pack because oh, here it is. I got one back there. So I'm going to even that up and try to get it as close to perfect as I can. But as the saying goes, we are crafters, so we don't do perfect. We just try to do the best we can. So I'm going to lay that on my plate and put my cover plate over it. And I'm just going to crank this through. So give me just a moment. I got to crank it all the way through because I have top and bottom. And I'm going to lift all of my pieces out. There's one snowman, and then I need to put it back down for this one. We can go ahead and pull up our, oh come on, don't tear my piece. It didn't. It tore the paper around it, but not the piece. So there's a top hat. There is a scarf. And there is a hat. And my little holly berries. I'm doing the same thing with these pieces. I'm putting them back where they belong, because I don't want to lose them. Again, the dies are the same way. They're tiny pieces that can easily get lost. So I do encourage you to, when you cut these out, put those back where they belong. It will make life so much easier if you don't lose your dies. Dies are very expensive and nobody wants to replace a set of dies for sure. Alright, I'm going to lay the little holly right there. I'm going to run this back through one more time so we can get our snow lady or snowman, whichever. This is actually the snow lady because she has her little eyes kind of batting down. And let's pull her off. Alright, right, we got our snow lady and our snowman, and we've got top hats and scarves, and I think for her, I'm going to do some pearls. I noticed that there is a strand of pearls in here that would look absolutely wonderful on her. And I think maybe we might do some red pearls since she's wearing a red hat. We have to make sure she coordinates, right? And I don't think there was a die for those. So maybe we'll just stamp them right on her. I think we can do that. Do we want to do red? Do we want to be so bold? Oh, why not? You know, if we mess it up, you know what we'll do? We'll just stamp it again. So I'm going to put my little top hat back in here. And I'm going to use this one to pick up my pearls. Oops. Picked up the whole thing. And I'm going to come back down here to the red. This is my real red. And I'm just going to tap, tap. I'm going to bring her down like this. And stamp her pearls right like that. Oh, so cute. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, I'm going to clean off my stamp really quick. And put it back in the packaging. And I think we got everything back over there and everything back over here. Now, prior to coming back on, I did go ahead and cut out their arms because I wanted to make sure that I had their arms already cut. So she's going to have that on, but before we do that, let's grab our pumpkin pie. And I think I'm going to do him with the dark pumpkin pie, and I'm going to do her nose with the light. I know the dark looked really good on it, but let's see how this one looks on her. Oops. Oh, that's kind of delicate. I like that. And then let's do his nose. Like so. And then let's put his scarf on. And we're going to do this with just some tape. I mean, not tape, but glue. So I'm going to pull my little fine tip bottle over. And I only want glue right where the scarf goes around his neck. That's going to be the only place that we need to put glue on this. So let's go right about there. We want it to go from one side to the other. And see, it is covering up his buttons, but that's okay. See if we can move it up just a little bit. That looks good. And now we're going to put her hat on. And again, I'm just going to put glue across the bottom edge. Oops. Something like that. And I got glue on her body, but that's okay. Now I want to bring this little holly berry, and let me grab my real red. And I grabbed my dark real red, and I'm going to use the bullet tip, and I'm just going to come in and do a dot, dot, dot. And look how pretty that is. Now we can adhere. You know, I'm going to be brave, and I'm going to try to do a band on this hat. Remember, this is the VersaFine, so it does not take well to alcohol ink. So I'm going to try to stay. Ah, isn't that beautiful? I love it. And then we are going to put the holly berries and the holly leaves. Let's see how I want that to go. Maybe like that. Yep. So I'm going to put a dot of glue right here. And then I'm just going to stick the holly berries themselves into that glue. Just like that. There we go. Now I'm going to do the same thing, only this time I'm going to put the glue on the head of my snowman. And I'm going to bring this over and I'm going to set that on his head. How cute is that little snowman? And look at our little snow lady. Aren't they adorable? Love it, love it, love it. Okay, I'm excited. Can y'all tell? I already have their little arms cut out, so I'm going to show you how we're going to do their arms. I have the arms right here. And I love the way they designed this. Stampin' Up! Always thinks of everything. They put a little round dot for you to be able to put glue on to adhere this behind, which I think is so cute. So you can decide how you want the arms to go, which arm you want where. I'm going to put this one over on this side of our lady, and all I'm going to do is just do a dot of glue right there, and this arm's going to be going, oops, this arm is going to be going down, sort of like that. Make sure you get it mashed in there so that it's not showing that round part. You don't want the round part to show. You want that to be taken care of back there just like you want it. Now the other one, I think I'm going to do it kind of waving up. So I'm going to put glue on the end of this. Just takes the tiniest little bit, and this arm is going to be coming up in a wave like that. Isn't she cute? I love it, I love it. Alright, so I've got two more arms for our little gentleman snowman. Now if you don't like tedious, this might not be your cup of tea, but if you enjoy building, you are going to love, love, love this set. I'm going to put this arm up and this arm down. Just like this. So there is our little snowman, our snow lady and snow gent. So they look very festive. I'm not too sure, I wouldn't want something a little more blingy or whatever. Maybe we'll put some jewels on her. Maybe she needs some jewels. We'll see. We have the beads, so maybe we'll put a little flower or something in her hat. That would be really cute. Oh, and let me show you. To get her hat a little darker, I'm just going to come in here with my real red marker. And that's how we're going to do her hat. Isn't that cute? And now she's nice and crimson, just like we wanted her to start with. So there are our two snow people. I'm going to lay those over to the side, and let me clear some of this stuff out off of my work surface so I can find a place to work. Let's go ahead and get rid of some of these ink pads. I do have my sentiment stamp right here, so I'm going to make sure I don't lose that. And I'm going to put some of my tools back over here in the drawer where they belong. Let's go ahead and put these inks up. So, Real Red, Balmy Blue, Starry Sky, and Shaded Spruce. I'm going to go ahead and put my Real Red marker up because I don't think I'm going to need that anymore, not right this minute anyway. So I'm just tidying up, trying to get some of this stuff out of my way so I can decide. Now I used the dies, I used the two tree dies earlier, and I cut out 2 trees using evening evergreen. And I think what I'm going to do is use 1 tree on each card. So on this one I stamped some trees behind it, but I really didn't like the way that looked after everything was said and done. So I'm going to try something a little different on here. I am going to put an evergreen tree right here, and I think I want my snow lady to be sitting right about, let's see if we can move the tree up a little bit, and we're going to have her right about there. I like that. I think that looks really cute. I think this will work. Now remember, we're not going to put any bulk inside this card because I ran into issues with that on the card that we created, and had a huge blunder on my live on Wednesday. So I wanted to do this one and kind of show you. My main concern was teaching you how to do the card, and I think we've covered that. So now it's just all about decorating and finding the perfect balance of what we want on our card. So I'm going to take this little tree and adhere it down right there. And then I'm going to take my little snow lady, and I am going to put glue all over the back of her, and we're going to adhere her down right about here, just like that. And then we have our other piece, which is going to be our snow gentleman, and we're going to put him right about here, and this other tree is going to live back behind him right about there. So I'm going to put some glue on the trunk of my tree right down the middle, and then maybe just a little bit on the little sprigs here and there. And let's stick that right about there. Oops. Isn't that so cute? I am just loving this snowman set. So stinking cute. Alright, I'm going to put some more glue on the back of our snow gent. And I'm going to sit him down right about there. What I'm doing is I want to make sure their little arms are staying inside the card. Just like so. Now I'm going to bring my card back over, and I'm going to put him right here, and our little lady is going to go, oh, that's not our lady, this is our lady. She's going to go right about there. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these both in. So I'm going to come down about to there, and over to there, and I'm going to give that a good press, and that looks really good. And then I'm going to do the same thing with our lady. I'm going to get a good little bit of glue right there, and then I'm going to sit her down right about here. Give that a press, and there we go. Now we have our front cover, we have our inside door pieces. Now we need to build the inside of our card and put our little overlay right here. So let me clean up some of the stuff on my desk, and I'll be right back, and then we're going to work on that. I'm going to go ahead and die cut some pieces from our scalloped contours, and maybe a circle punch, and we will meet right back up right about here. Be right back. Alright everyone, I am back, and I think we're ready to go ahead and put this card together. When I left you, we had gotten the little snowman or snow people inside our card. We had put some trees in the background. I'm going to look and see if I can find a little snowflake stamp, and I'm going to do some snowflakes like they're falling. But what I wanted to concentrate on was working on this front panel. So I went back to my candy cane, sweet candy cane stamp set and dies. And what I did is I went ahead and stamped out these big candy canes, and I die cut them using the dies. I also stamped out some of the mistletoe and die cut it out with the die. So that pretty much gave me what I want to go on the front of my card, which is these beautiful little candy canes on top of this white scallop. This is the scallop contour dies that I cut these with, and I cut one a little bit smaller than the other one in real red and one in basic white. And then I'm going to sit this down probably right about here. I made a green bow using some of the ribbon that's in our new catalog, and I'll link that ribbon in the description. But I want to tie that or stick that ribbon right there. And then I have this cute little candy cane wishes and mistletoe kisses that I'm going to put together and put right here like that. I think that's going to make a real pretty little collage on the front of this. So let's go ahead and see if we can get this all put together. So I think the first thing I want to do is use a little Stampin' Seal on the back of my white piece and adhere it to my red piece. So I'm just going to do a little bit of the Stampin' Seal. Like so. Then I want to center this up right in the middle of this red piece. Something like this. And then I want to put my candy canes up to the top just a little bit. And I'm going to use some liquid glue. Or I might just use seal. Let's see if we can do these with seal. I think that'll hold them really well. So I'm going to bring that up. Let's see. Put them down up to the top like that to give myself just a little bit more room at the bottom. So that looks good just like that. So now I want to adhere this little piece, and I'm just going to adhere it, and I cut this in a scallop, and I cut this in just a plain circle. A little different than what you normally see it. Most of the time you see crafters use the scallop to the outside and the circle to the inside, but I wanted to do mine just a tiny bit different. Yeah, that's the right side. I didn't think it felt right. And yes, your dies have a right side and a wrong side. So this I'm going to pop up just a little bit. So I'm going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of it. And I'm going to do a little bit of this. I just want to put these around the edges. Something like this, and maybe one more right there. That should be plenty to hold that on with. So I'm going to remove those backers. And then I want to make sure that I'm getting this nice and even, and kind of drop it to the bottom because we want to have room for that bow. So I think that'll be cute like that. I also have these little mistletoe pieces that I want to stick in like this, like that, and like that. And I think that's going to give a nice little leadway to our cute little green bow. Maybe we'll do the bow right. No, that won't show very well. Let's see. Let's put our bow on, and then I'll decide on the mistletoe. So I'm going to put my bow right about here. looks like my loop got twisted, but I'm gonna see if I can salvage that anyway. Something like that. Yeah, it definitely got twisted. I'm not sure exactly how that happened, but let me try tying that again. I didn't like the way that ended up looking, so I think I might stick the mistletoe out on the side like that. Maybe one on each side like that. That'd be cute, and then the bow in the middle. I was trying to figure out how I could incorporate, because I wanted the candy cane wishes and mistletoe kisses. I wanted to represent both the candy cane and the mistletoe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ribbon, and I'm doing my little loopy bow, the little double loop bow, and I'm going to hope I have enough of ribbon to be able to do this, because I did cut my tails, and that might cause me to have a little bit of problem here. But we're gonna work it and see what we can come up with. And if we can't, I'll cut another piece of ribbon and we will make it work. I can always save this and use it on something else. Now let's see if I can bring that back up under there. And then I'm just going to work this back and forth to tighten that down. And there we go. Yeah, that looks much better. So I'm going to put my bow right along here. And I'm going to adhere that using one of my glue dots. So I'm going to stick it to it right like that. And then right in the middle of where those candy canes come together is where I want to put that bow. Isn't that so cute? So now I want to take some liquid glue, and I'm just going to put some right here on the ends of my mistletoe, and I'm going to stick one right there. And then I'm going to do the same with this one, and we're going to stick it under right about here. I'm just giving that a press to make sure everything is adhering. Now we're ready to bring our card back over. Get some of my trash out of the way. Move some stamp blocks up, because as you can see, I have quite a mess here, and I don't usually work well in this big of a mess, but we are getting this card together. So now this piece is going to go right up to the top of this. I'm going to use some Stampin' Seal, and I'm going to go right down, maybe I'll use glue. I'm going to go right down below that stitch mark, and then I'm going to adhere that to the top part of the card. Like that, just a nice little gob of glue across the top. Then I'm going to cross that, and I'm going to double check and make sure I've got about the same amount of spacing on the right and the left from here to here and from here to here. And that looks pretty close. So I'm going to give that a good press. Now that raises up like that, and this opens up like this. I am going to press that seam down right there just a little bit tighter. Get a nice even crease on that. That works out beautifully. And now we're ready to put our middle piece in, which is going to be this piece right here. And this piece is 3 3/4 by 8, and we're going to score it in the middle at 4. This is our little card within a card, so this just gives you a lot of extra space to have a place to put more sentiments, to write a note, Just all kinds of neat little things that you can do with this. All right, so now that I've got that folded, I'm going to burnish it down really well. I'm going to bring over my, it's the most magical time of the year. I'm trying to think if I want to put a piece of red and then a piece of white, and I believe I do. I think that will kind of tie everything together. Yeah, let's get a piece of white, a piece of real red. And I'm going to cut this. I know this is 3 3/4 by 4. So I'm going to do this 3 1/2 by 3 3/4. 3 1/2 by 3 3/4. And that is going to fit on there just like that. Then we're going to do another piece of white. So I'm reaching into my scrap bin because I want to get something that I can work here. And so this piece, I want to make sure that it's big enough for my sentiment. So I think I'm going to do this one 3 1/4 by 3. So 3 1/4 by 3. And then this piece will go in just like that. And then we'll stamp in real red on the front of this. And how pretty is this going to be? All right, I'm going to bring over my Stampin' Pierce mat. I want to get this centered right in the middle. Grab my stamp block, and then we're going to ink this up. And I'm just going to let that ink transfer for a minute. I'm not going to be in any hurry to lift it up. I really want that ink to transfer into that paper. That is gorgeous. So now we can go ahead and adhere this to this. And I think I'm going to use some liquid glue for that. There we go. So pretty. And now this is going to go right down on the front of our card. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to use some liquid glue. And there we go. So pretty. And now this is ready to adhere inside of our card. Now if you wanted to stamp Merry Christmas in here, this would definitely be the time to do that. And I'm going to look and see if we could do Merry and Bright. So let's see. Alright, I found the sentiment, A Joyful Christmas to You and Yours, and so I'm going to stamp that also in the red. right about here. So again, my real red, such a pretty Christmas red. So I'm going to put that down right there. Give it a good press. Just like that. And then we can glue that in and our card will be done. So let's bring this back over. We're going to set this right up to that score line. And I'm going to use Stampin' Seal on the back of this. And then we're just going to set this in. Like I said, you want to go up to that score line but not over it. Just like that. And that is our card. I think it turned out really cute, and I'm hoping that the explanation was a lot clearer than it was on the live, and the fact that we decorated this to be a beautiful little Christmas card. I think it turned out really cute. I hope that you like it. If you liked any of the products that you saw me use today, be sure to check out my online store. All of these products will be listed in the description. You can also visit my blog, and there will be a free PDF tutorial that you can print out or download to your computer, and all of the links and everything will be there as well. So thank you once again for joining me today. I hope this has been educational and enlightening, considering the problems we had with our live on Wednesday. So anyway, thanks again, and as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is so worthy. So until we craft again, God bless and keep you. Bye-bye.